Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to drive safely in the rain. We're first of all going to start by looking at some car controls to help you see better in the rain, and then we're going to go for a drive. So I'm going to take the camera off the front windscreen and let's start looking at the car controls. So these are the controls in my car, but of course it's different in every different car. So the main thing you want to do is turn the heater blower on, which in my car you do by pressing that. Many learner drivers have never done this before because you may have learned to drive in the summer and then you take your driving test in the winter, or maybe your driving instructor has always done this for you. But I like to get people doing this, and even though it's part of the driving test, it's part of the show me tell me questions, I still like to get people to do this. So on the right here you've got the temperature control. I'm going to set that to around 19. It doesn't really matter what it is, it's not that cold today. But 19 will be a good temperature for this. Then you've got the fan speed over here, which you can go from 1 to 7 in this car. I'm going to have that set about number 2. You've got many of the controls here that can help. So for example, you can direct the air to the windscreen or towards your face or your feet, but I find it's best to just have those off. I find it gives a general overall good result if you just leave those turned off. Now, one tip you might not know for the rain is to have air conditioning on. Now, you might think, why would I want air conditioning on in the rain? Isn't that just when it's hot in the summer? Well, no, because air conditioning works by removing moisture from the air. That's what makes the air cooler and colder. So if you turn that on, it will actually help to clear your window. You won't get so much fogging on your windows. I won't have it on now because the engine's off, so it won't work just at the moment. But having aircon on is a good tip. Max aircon in this car makes it easy because if the windows are steaming up, you just press max aircon, and when the engine is on, that will do everything it can to clear the windows. One handy feature this car has, so that's max aircon, clear the windows in max window there. So when it rains and it's fogging up, you just press max, and that will put everything it needs on to clear the windows. That's for maximum coolness, that's for maximum visibility. The one handy feature this car has is this, which is a heated front windscreen. You don't get this in all cars, but that heats the front windscreen for a few minutes. You can probably see there are black lines in the window. You've probably seen that noise is the blower going. You can maybe see black lines going down the windscreen. Those are the heated elements, like you have in the rear windscreen, but they're in the front windscreen. You don't always get that in every car, so most cars don't have it. It used to be only Fords, now it's more common. You get that noise again. You've got the rear heated window, but did you know that won't work now because the car is turned off? You may not be aware that the heated rear window in most cars will also heat your mirrors. Did you know that? It heats your mirrors, and there's the camera, in case you wonder what it looks like. I am doing videos about behind the scenes of filming my videos, but that's the interior camera there. So yeah, those are the basic controls. We're going to get driving now, but they're really good. And the one last one I didn't mention is auto. This is climate control, so if you press that, it will just keep the temperature to that in the car. And this car's got quite a nice one because you can have auto 1, 2 or 3. This just simply does all this for you, so you can just say keep it at 19 and it will do everything it needs to keep the car at that temperature. So it puts on the heater, the aircon, whatever, it does it all itself. And the numbers show how loud you want it to be, because it can be annoying when you put this on. Sometimes it gets really loud on number 3 and you don't want it to be that loud, so you can have number 2 or number 1, as it says on the screen here. Auto blower limit, high, medium, low. So it keeps the volume down and it doesn't change too suddenly. I don't really use that ever. I don't think I've ever had that on. It's something I never use. So I'll turn this and that puts that off. So I'm going to put the camera back on the windscreen now. I've got these really handy magnetic mounts so it just snaps on. Okay, so now we're back and let's turn the car on and go for a drive. Now, one of the things, of course, I didn't mention, in fact, I'm going to turn off again because I forgot to mention the single most important thing you need to know, which is the windscreen wipers. don't forget your windscreen wipers. So on my car, they're automatic, and the way you put them on auto is this stalk here does all of the wipers. If you want to wipe just once, you press it down, and just press this button. I'm just going to press the power button, so it puts the power on. I push this down, and it will wipe just once. But if you push it up once, that's now in auto mode, and there's a sensor behind there, that black thing you can see there. There's a sensor behind there that detects when how much it's raining. So you can also push it up again. That goes to manual mode. So they're manually on. You can have it up again on full speed mode, but I just leave it on auto mode. This here changes the sensitivity of auto mode. That's most sensitive to least sensitive. I just leave it on that. I leave it on most sensitive. And this is what gets many people to learn in a Fiesta. This switch, have you ever knocked the back wipers on by mistake? It's because of this. If you push that up once, it puts the back wiper on. But if you put it up again, very rare this feature, this is the only car I've ever had this in, put it up all the way, and it keeps the back wiper on all the time, which is a highly unusual feature. I say it's the only car I've ever had with that. But if you knock that with your fingers, a lot of people knock it when they're steering like that, and they say, oh, why is my back wiper on? Well, there you go. You can just turn that off again. So I'll leave the wipers on auto, and now let's go for a drive. So neutral, turn on. A big tip with your windows is you might want to have the windows down. Avoid having them down around there. You don't want this, the edge of the window, to be in your eye line. Why? Because when you get to junctions, you can't always see through it or around it. So you want that to be well below or well above your eye line. Good tip there, it can save you. I'm going to press the heated rear window, which heats the mirrors, so that will get rid of the rain on the mirrors as well. So I'll check around. I won't signal again because no one's around. Gas clutch, if I go into the road, will go left, and the wipers will come on soon when it detects the rain. I'm going to brake a bit. 1, and I forget, there you go, the wipers work. Now if the wipers don't come on, you just push it down 1, then up 1. Again, this video is for anyone, but if you're learning to drive with me and you've asked about the car controls, I might have sent you to watch this video. So if it's on auto and they don't come on, you can push it up 1, then down 1, or down 1, then up 1. It just kind of jump starts it, just puts it back into auto mode and tells you, hey, I want you to turn the wipers on. So I'm going to go down this road. I'm not really going anywhere in particular. We're just going to go for a drive, and I'll think of what I can tell you about. One thing, pedestrians, be careful of splashing pedestrians, because this is not a joke, this is serious. If you splash a pedestrian with a puddle, you can be charged with assault. It is classed as an assault to spray pedestrians with a puddle. And I know that happened on the driving test once, not with me, but I remember years ago it was in the news, somebody on a driving test or in a driving test. I always say on, don't know why. Someone in a driving test, they splashed a pedestrian, and I think they ended up getting prosecuted for it or fined or whatever. But yeah, it can happen. And I'll tell you a story about that. I might as well tell you now, because we're just going to drive to an area, puddle there, that's what I'm going to tell you about in this story. Many, many years ago, I used to be a delivery driver, and there was a time when I had to deliver to this really awkward place, and there was a parking space outside, and I parked there, and this parking warden came up to me, and they were moaning, saying, oh, you're not supposed to park there, it's only between this time and that time or whatever. And I was saying to him, look, I've got to carry these really heavy things into this place. And he said, I don't care, you've got to park down the road, you've got to go and park down there. So I had to go and park and walk and carry these massive heavy bags of linen into this restaurant. And after I'd finished doing that, and I'm telling this story because there's nothing to talk about just yet with the driving, there will be soon. After I'd finished carrying all these bags up, I got back in my van and I drove off, and I saw this traffic warden walking along the pavement, and he was just about to walk up to this huge puddle. It was raining hard, and there was this massive puddle in the road, and he turned because he wanted to cross the road, and he looked at me, and I always remember the expression on his face. He knew that I was going to soak him with water, because he looked and he went, ugh. You could sort of see his look on his face, like, oh, he's going to soak me with water. And I didn't. And I'm always proud of that. I drove around and I didn't soak him with water. I went round the puddle and I didn't splash him, even though he'd just been moaning at me. I always believe in rise above it. be better, be the bigger person. And I always remember that. Anyway, I told you that story because there's not much to really talk about in the rain on this road. But I'm going to go next right. I want to go straight on. I'll go straight on because there's more I can tell you. This is the point of the video, really. Driving in the rain is not that different to driving when it's not raining. If you drive properly and well most of the time, there isn't a huge difference, because sometimes people panic. Some people even have a fear of rain. If you don't know, I help people overcome the fears and phobias online. And it's not really to do with the rain, but some people do have this thing where when it rains, they have panic attacks and they start even vomiting, and it's not just about being nervous, they actually can't get in the car for fear. And really, it's not that much different. I've always found that driving in the rain is not hugely different to driving in normal conditions, probably because I drive properly. If you drive too fast normally, people say, oh, you've got to slow down. Sometimes you have to slow down, but if you drive well, driving in the rain is not really that much different. So I've got the controls done, I've showed you those. We've got the blower on, the windows are already clear, the mirrors are now clearer because they've been heated by that. Now I've got a national speed limit sign coming up, so I'll check my mirrors. I'm going to accelerate again. It is raining, but it's not going to make much difference. So I'm picking up speed. I've also got really good tyres on this car, plus it does make a difference. I'm an advanced driver and I've been driving for decades, so experience counts. So all these things add up. And yes, there are puddles. I'm doing about 50 odd miles an hour. It's not slipping, is it sliding? Does it feel out of control? No, there's not a huge difference. And this is one of the main points of this video. Yes, by all means you have to slow down, but don't do it excessively. Like the van behind us slowed right down so much they're barely moving. Some people are overly scared of the rain, and if you're overly scared, you actually create more trouble than just driving appropriately. The one in front, the red car, is a bit close to the white vehicle. Now, in normal conditions, you must be 2 seconds back from the car ahead. In the rain, 4 seconds is advisable, but even more depending on how badly it's raining. And I'm going to turn on the rear wiper because that's just starting to get a bit bad. The next road on the right is a really dodgy road. That's going to be in other videos. I've had great fun on that road in the past. But we're going to go down this one, which is very often on the driving tests from Kings Heath Test Centre. So I'm braking, the brakes feel the same. Some people think that it's going to be massively different and they're going to be skidding and the car's going to be out of control and the brakes won't work. You might be surprised if you're learning to drive how little the rain actually affects you. But having said that, what's on the floor here? Lots of debris, so that twig, that branch, whatever, hanging down from the tree. So I'm doing 35. Now in the summer when it's dry, if it is ever dry in the summer, I could pick up more, but in these conditions I won't. So I'm not saying just blast down the road as you normally would. You have to be aware of the danger, the leaves on the floor. It's early October as I film this. Why do we say film? We don't use film anymore. So as I record this, puddle, mirrors, go around. Why do you go around puddles like that? Because a lot of new drivers don't. A lot of new drivers, inexperienced drivers, just think it's fun to drive through. Well, if you've got very good tyres on your car, like this one has, it will just push the puddles to one side pretty well. It's like having a battery of windscreen wipers, they used to say in the old adverts from the 1950s, 1930s and 40s. But yeah, so avoid puddles because you never know what's in the puddle. There could be a massive hole, there could be nails, and the hole's a really bad one because you go down thump, that could be your tyre blown. So avoid the white lines. Now in a car it's not so bad, but if you ride a motorbike you'll know these white lines are lethal. They're very slippery when this white paint is wet. And if you get on that, not so much in a car, your car's not going to skid anywhere near as easily, but you still want to keep your tyres off the white paint. It's going to be very slippery, surprisingly so. I'm going to go, which way shall I go? I'll go end of the road left, because I'm not really going anywhere in particular. Will I go end of the road right? I always go that way. You've seen me go that way loads of times. I've hardly ever been right. So let's go right. Brake, clutch, stop. It's a stop-o sign. So I'll stop dead. No rotation of the wheel. Don't have to apply the handbrake because I've stopped. I'm looking both ways, creeping, rolling gas clutch. Off I go. I'm going this way because it's more rural. That other way gets back to town, but this way there are more things I can maybe show you, like bends. What's this sign saying? 15% incline. That's quite steep. So I'll check my middle mirror, I'm covering the brake. Again, the rain's making it slightly harder to see, and bear in mind what you're seeing on the camera is a bit worse than what I can see, because when I watch these videos back sometimes it looks like I can hardly see out the window, but I can. I'm braking down this hill because it's so steep. But what you're seeing on the camera is a bit worse than what I'm seeing, because the camera being stuck on a windscreen, it makes it all look worse in terms of rain. The road you're passing on the right here is the one that comes out the other end of that one, instead of had some fun down there. If you want some fun, if you're crazy, that kind of fun, go down that road, Icknield Street. I don't recommend it. I'll do a video on it one day. It's very dodgy, to say the least. That's the road I got stuck on once when I got my brand new tyres and I got stuck. Just come out to test it, brand new tyres, and I got stuck on that road. So I can see well ahead, I can see well behind, and it doesn't feel much different. Because some people expect the car's going to be pulling all over the road and it's going to be slippery and they're going to have to brake much differently. It's not massively different, but national speed limit sign, checking around, there's no one around. I will not pick up too quickly here because I can't see very fast, so I pick up a bit, but I'm ready to slow down. I wait till I reach the apex, I pick up a bit more. The apex is on the halfway point of the bend. I brake, check my mirrors move to the right so I can see further and be seen from further back. I'm ready to apply the gas, I'm ready, go. That's some advanced driving, what you call chasing the vanishing point, or chasing the apex. I do all these things in other videos, but this isn't an advanced driving one, this is more for learners and maybe inexperienced drivers. So again here, I can't see too far ahead, so mirrors, move around the puddles. I wouldn't move around if something was coming the other way, they're not that bad, but I avoid them when I can. So that van's going fairly quick, nothing wrong with that, but it's going fairly quickly. I accelerate, that's the road I often go on my videos, the one we're going underneath. I can see some bovines in the distance, some animals, so I'm ready to brake in case the bovines are on the road. So off we go, a little bit of gas, no one behind, and no one's behind, that's important because I can brake hard now like that, that's sort of medium braking, and no one's behind, it doesn't matter. If someone's behind you, you've got to be more careful of how and when you brake. So I'm applying the gas, we are going to get back to some other sort of busier and faster roads in a moment. And off I go. Puddles, again, avoid the puddles, you don't want to go splashing through. If I can, if there's one that's safe, I will go through and show you what happens. But simply, you get loads of water thrown up, especially if you're on a driving test and that window's open. Don't soak the examiner. It won't go down well. There's a bit of a puddle here. No, it's not really much of a puddle at all. But if there are puddles, just keep away from them. You don't really want to be driving through water. It may seem like fun, but it can splash people, it can potentially soak your brakes. You can get water thrown up and your brakes get wet. And when I was a new driver, I always remember this, in fact I'll go and do a video on this one day. I went through a Ford, as in the flood on the road like a Ford. I made some videos this morning featuring a Ford. I've made 3 videos today. And I was going through this Ford, and I didn't know this thing. He kept saying, test your brakes, test your brakes. I thought, yeah, what's all that about rubbish? I got to the end of the road and I did this, I was braking, and nothing was happening. And I was braking on, off, and nothing was happening. And I just slammed the brake down as hard as I could. I was almost closing my eyes. I was coming to a T-junction, and the car just wasn't slowing down because I'd gone through a Ford too quickly, soaked my brakes, and my brakes weren't working. And very luckily, there was nothing coming. I went flying out the end of the road. If anyone had been coming from the sides, I would have been hit and had a massive crash. That was my inexperience many years ago. So always test your brakes after you've been through a flood. So if there's a Ford here, you brake, and you think, oh, the brakes are really soft. You accelerate, brake. Some people even say accelerate and press the brake together. I don't recommend that, but just brake. The road's going to rumble now. You may see that on the accelerometer. It rumbles quite a bit. That's to warn you to slow down. It's a bit pointless because it's so late, it doesn't give you much of a warning. But it's to warn you to slow down for that traffic calming thing there. Now here's a good tip where I could go left then right, What's going on here is a bit of a traffic jam. Don't get many jams around here. This is a very small village, Alfchurch. You've probably seen me visit this many times in my videos. Now you could go left then right, that's actually the easier way of doing it, but I'm going to do it this way to show you something. When you come this way, it's harder to actually see. So what you do is you do what you call forming a T. The red car's doing it well. So you get as much of a T shape, like a T, to the end of the road as you can. So you swing it. Oh, the light's gone red, so it's actually not that bad a view. And off we go. So I could have turned from about there, and this is a 20 zone now. So I use the speed limiter feature. I'll put the limiter on, and it won't let me go over 20. So now if I accelerate more or less, it just keeps it at 20. Nice feature for when you need it. Roundabout ahead. These white roundabouts can be very slippery. Again, not so much in a car, but if you're on a bike, push bar, motorbike, whatever, skateboard perhaps, they're very slippery, so you have to go around those more. And we get back to the 30 zone, so take the speed limiter off. And I've done a video on the speed limiter if you want to see that. That's been quite a popular video. So that's how you drive in the rain. I'll keep driving from a bit further and show you some higher speed roads. But there isn't a huge difference. There is a difference, and yes, you do have to adapt your driving, and yes, this isn't the worst rain. We were supposed to be having storms today. They said really severe storms. So I planned to make a video on how to drive in storms. I know we didn't have a storm. But this isn't really, this kind of, I'd say, light to moderate rain. When it's really bad, I did a video, which I mentioned in another video I made this morning, when I was driving in Devon, and I was driving in the middle of nowhere, in a road I didn't know, on a road I didn't know, in an area I didn't know, and the rain was lashing down, and it was awful, it was dark. I've been driving all day. That's one of the most memorable drives I've got. It was horrible. Even with all my sort of experience and skill and whatever, it was quite difficult to drive, and I was really glad when I got back to the hotel. It wasn't scary, but it was very tiring, and this is horrible, like bendy, twisty roads I didn't know, and really, really nasty drive that, but that's in a video if you want to go and see that. I'll put a link in the description. So again, mirrors, signal, come off here, accelerate away. There's some lights ahead. I've been here when the lights are there, so I won't bother picking up too quickly. That red car's indicating to pull out the probably will, so I'll brake a bit. I'm braking anyway, that doesn't matter. Normally that would be bad driving on airport, but not now because we're slowing down anyway. If you make another vehicle slow down against their will, it's generally a bad thing. So mirrors, brake. You can't say always because hardly anything always applies. The only rule that always applies is the rule that nothing always applies. What a paradox that is. So mirrors around the puddle. I'm ready to brake and give way still, stop for the lights, but I can get through. Yep, they're fine. So I'm keeping a good distance from the car ahead. The speed's quite low, about 30. And if you do want to practice learning to drive in the rain, nothing beats actually going out and doing it, because this video is helping you as much as I can. But that's all you really need to know. There are probably other things I could say, like motorways and how we haven't covered. But driving in the rain is nothing to be afraid of. Make sure you can see well, get your heater blower set up properly. So make sure you're familiar with the controls and get it set up before you move. Make sure your wipers, make sure you know how to control the wipers. I didn't know that when I did my driving lessons. This stuff wasn't on the test or in the test. On, in, is it on or in, what is it? I was never taught that, and I remember driving to work one day in the same car. I came out of the junction too quickly, and I didn't know what I was doing. No one had ever taught me. It's easy to say, oh, it's obvious to turn the heater on. It's not obvious if you've never done it before. It's like when you're watching a quiz show and people say, oh, that's easy. It's only easy if you know the answer. If you've never been taught it, then how would you know? So I'm checking the car behind there, paying attention, because I could have gone then, but the driver behind's paying attention, so I didn't have to worry about braking. If the car behind was going, I may have gone then, because they maybe wouldn't have stopped to get some more advanced driving, something called profiling. I'll do videos on all these things. And I'll finish with a funny story from a driving test. Many years ago, I had a test, and it was with his pupil. It would be because it was a driving test, and they were going on a test, and we'd set the blower up, the heater and the blower, because they wanted me to go with them on the driving test, whatever. And I went in the car, And they drove off. We had all the heater blows set up because I was quite nervous about the test. So we set it all up. They knew how to do it and had it all done. And we said, look, just don't touch any of that. It's all done. It's all ready. It's all good. You just focus on your driving. They got in the car, and what's the first thing they did? They turned it all off. And because I was in the car, 3 people in a small car, the windows started fogging up. And I was thinking, put the blower on, put the heater on. And they just let the windows get really bad, and the examiner pulled them over and said, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to tell you, you've got to put the blower on, and they failed for that. And I said to them at the end, why did you turn it all off? And they said, I didn't, I turned it on. You didn't, you turned it off. We had it turned on, and you turned it all off. I always remember that. So always make sure that you know the blower is on or off. I think they just got nervous on the test and messed up. Anyway, I've got another story about that I could tell you. Will I tell you that one now? Yeah, I'll tell you one. This was many years ago. I did the driving test, and all I'll say is that for some reason the blower wasn't on and the car was steaming up. And yes, I do teach people these things. It's just people get nervous on tests and they forget to do it. And I noticed the examiner was breathing on the window. I don't know why. He was going... And he kept breathing on the window, like fogging it up. And I thought, is he giving the people a hint that they need to turn the blower on? Or is he trying to make the windows steamed up? What's he doing? It's quite bizarre though. He was kind of breathing on the windows. Anyway, check out the other videos of mine on the screen now. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos, and visit my website as well, firstdrive.com.